Welcome to the Mastering Podcast. I'm the host, Magnus Olsen, and today I'm joined by my co-hosts, Lucas Meadowcroft and Don Sanka. Welcome, boys.
Mate, good to be here.
I'm so looking forward to this one. Can't wait.
It's going to be an absolute cracker. Just before we start, what do you guys like at swimming?
Mate, I have swam in the water though.
Absolutely, mate. You can't run like you do on the 400 metres in the pool.
I was talking about running in the rain. That's about it.
I'll get to my story soon, but definitely not a swimmer.
Yep, okay, that makes 3 non-swimmers in the room. Let's give it a bit of a sneak peek of who our guest might be.
It's harder to make that than it is to make an Olympic final.
Man, there's so many things that has not made sense for me in this podcast.
I wish, that's what I was saying about social media, is that I wish people could see what we did, because they'd be like, what do you mean? Like,
Is it post-career yet?
no, I have a lot of fire. I'd love to be on the Commonwealth Games team next year.
Oh wow, so you're going to have a crack.
Yeah.
Today we're joined by Australian swimming superstar Abbey Harkin, a powerhouse in the pool and a master of bouncing back stronger. From the heartbreak of missing the Paris to winning medals on the stage, she's shown us that resilience is as powerful as talent. Today we'll hear her real story, and I've got a feeling we're about to hear a side of Abbey we've never heard before. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Welcome, Abby.
So we just touched on there. Tell us about that Olympic trials experience in Paris and how you cope with that mentally and physically.
So it's over 12 months ago. It's just gone over the 12-month mark. It's challenging, and it still to this day is challenging. I think I went into that not underdone, but I had a lot of setbacks leading into that preparation. So for me, it was a big mental challenge. I thought going from the heat to the final on that day that I missed the team, I was pretty confident that I was not going to make the team, but I thought I was going to swim really well. And me swimming well, I thought that was good enough to be on the team. But as you would probably know, the Australian swim team, there's so much depth in that team. When I missed the team, I think the biggest challenge was that my partner had made the team, and I was more so happy for him and gutted that we couldn't be on the Olympic team together. It was very challenging because they left 3 days later, so I was pretty much just forced to figure out what I wanted to do. I remember finishing my race and I was in the swim down pool just being like, I just want to stop, I just want to quit, I actually want to have a child right now. Like, I just thought, what do I do next? Like, you just don't plan for this to happen. You just think your success just keeps rolling, or I guess that adrenaline just keeps going. So I actually never really took a step back, and I just kept thinking, I've got to be the best version of myself. I've got to wake up every morning and still have a routine like I did when I was in my training program. And I actually feel like I still haven't really let go of that. Physically, I think a lot of athletes struggle post career because they think they've just always got to be this athlete. Mentally, yeah, it's draining. It's really draining. So, and it still is. Like, I think about that day, and I still get really emotional about it. But I've had a lot of support, and I guess I've kind of made myself other goals out of the pool that I'm ticking off now. So, yeah, it's been a challenge, but it's taught me a lot.
You said post-career. We haven't seen you retire or any announcements that you have retired. Is it post-career yet?
No, I have a lot of fire in my stomach just to keep going. I think for me, post-games, a lot of people kind of were trying to tell me, like,
So it's post-Olympics.
Post-Olympics, yeah.
Not post-career.
Not post-career, yeah. I had a lot of people thinking that I was done, and I was more so listening to them rather than listening to what I wanted.
So are we hearing that you're going to make a comeback?
I'd love to, yeah. I would love to. I would love to be on the Commonwealth Games team next year.
Oh wow! So you're
Yeah.
gonna have a crack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Amazing.
What I
That's
just
great
noticed
news.
then is like this, when Magnus asked you that first question, like your demeanor, like you felt the emotion was raw from 12 months ago. And then the question was around next year and you completely
I
changed.
know. I saw that too.
You lit up.
That
Like,
was-
Yeah.
you went from like this, oh my God, my
I-
life's over, to
I felt
oh,
like
I
I-
can't wait to get into next
Yeah.
year.
I just felt like I went through an emotional roller coaster in
In
5
3 minutes, yeah.
or 3 minutes or
Yeah.
what that was. Yeah, that's so.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
I think like I go through that too. I go, what do I actually want to do? Like I'm quite an emotional person, so I think about my success and I guess the downfalls and the hard times in sport, and I think that's probably what's giving me that fire to keep going. So
Yeah.
it's about that balance of then going, I need to listen to what I want to do and just keep going. Yeah.
All right, let's rewind the clock a bit. I'm intrigued just to hear a little bit of your backstory and how it all started, where you came from, because I think you're a little small town down the Hunter Valley, I believe.
Yeah.
So just share a little bit of that for us and what it was like up until the fame of the Olympics.
Well, my family's all been involved in sport and swimming. So I was born in Newcastle and we moved up to the Hunter Valley when I was quite young. My family owned a swimming centre in Warners Bay, so Newcastle. My uncle is actually an Olympian as well. He went to 1974 Olympics. He competed in the 4x100 freestyle relay.
How did they go?
I think that was actually their worst Olympics they've ever had.
Why'd you ask that question?
Yeah, no, but like it's
I've never heard of Australia being bad at swimming, so it's an obvious question.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because at the time, 2021 Olympics, I was a part of the most successful swimming team, and then
Yeah.
my uncle would say, "Well, great, I was a part of the most unsuccessful swimming team." So it's a bit of a laugh, but
What you're saying is swimming's in the family blood.
yes, definitely. My mum was on the Australian junior team. She just missed the Commonwealth Games when she was swimming. She stopped when she was very young. So I trained down in Newcastle and would commute every day. It was about a 45-minute trip, morning, night. My dad worked in Newcastle. I had a lot of support from family, travelling those early mornings and late evenings as well. So, and then I was very fortunate. I went to boarding school in Sydney in my last couple of years of school because my parents, I guess, I loved swimming and I was very good when I was a junior swimmer. I would always win state medals. I qualified for nationals when I was quite young, and but I didn't really know what I was doing. I kind of was like, oh, this is a bit of fun. Like, I'll just go along with it. And then I got the opportunity to go to boarding school and have a bit more of a school and sporting balance. That was pretty challenging because Sydney, New South Wales at the time didn't have a great I guess, program to help athletes then transition into senior sport post-school. So then that's when I moved up to Brisbane, and I've been here. This is my 10th year now.
Yeah, wow.
So, yeah, I've been very fortunate to be I've swum at St Peter's. I went to school for my last year of schooling. There was a bit of disruption in grade 12, but yeah, I'm very happy where I am now.
So St Peter's, and that's obviously the famed location of Mr. Dean Boxall, one of our most passionate and intense coaches. What's it like training under him?
It's a bit of like a live wire, to be honest. You're kind of always just alert, and there's always so much going on.
Is he as passionate and crazy as you see him on
Oh my goodness.
TV, YouTube, anywhere?
Yeah.
Like that's.
I still remember
I
my
want
first...
every coach to be like that. I want my coach to be like that. That's.
I think if
amazing.
everyone was like Dean Boxall, if every coach was like Dean Boxall, then gosh, this country and this world would have some like pretty unbelievable
wow.
athletes and people, because
That rubs off on you competing?
yeah.
It's contagious.
He's an amazing person as well, like as
Yeah.
as an individual.
Yeah.
Because good coaches can sometimes be
Assholes.
very.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
yeah.
want to say that, but yeah,
It's true. Though. Some of the best coaches in the world are actually pricks.
yeah.
Yeah. He's very much a family guy. He's got 2 little boys, a beautiful wife. He has so much time for them. He puts that into the pool as well. So
Yeah.
he's passion and love and just energy is honestly like something you can't explain. And I still remember my first interaction with him. He was literally, his face was right in front of me. It was to the point where I had spit on my face and I just kept wiping it. And you know when you get embarrassed when someone like accidentally spits or something and you're like, I don't want to do that. But that was Dean. And it was so intense that, yeah, I know it sounds terrible. Yeah, it was like that. And throughout my whole career, the last 10 years with him, that's exactly how he's spoken to me and to his athletes before going to a race. Yeah. And it's actually comforting because you just know how much love, and he actually believes in you more than you believe in yourself. So you know you're with the right person when that's the case.
Is that just you personally, or is that like everyone on the team? Does everyone get the same vibe?
Everyone. He's
got a few
right
good,
now he's got 10 athletes. He's got over 10 athletes on the team that's competing in Singapore right now.
Is that the most successful coach Australia had in single?
Yes, I think he was on par with Michael Bowl.
Yeah.
I think last year's Olympics was, I think we equaled the best medals to come away from those Olympic Games.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I just want to double click on that again then, if we can. Go through that scenario you went through 12 months ago. How was he in that process that you were then mentally trying to go, well, am I quitting? Am I going to
how much of it
mum?
the
Like
coach playing that?
Did he play in that?
That was probably the hard part because he had a massive job to do. His job was then to take his 10 athletes away to Paris and let them perform at their best. So for me, I reached out to him a few times and I just couldn't comprehend why this had happened. And I spoke to him thoroughly about it, but we both respected that. Well, I very much respected that this was not my time for his energy, and because he had a lot of energy to give to these other 10 athletes. So he was there for me every step of the way, and he'd always be checking in on me, even on the nights of State of Origin, because I'm a New South Wales supporter. So
what?
Those, yeah. Oh, you are too.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw the other day. What's going on here?
Brainwashed as a kid. I was born in Bankstown.
Oh my
you?
God.
Oh,
okay.
there you go.
Being born in New South Wales doesn't make you a Blues fan. You should know that. Most of our players.
Brainwashed Parramatta
It's
supporter.
Yes, it
state
does.
of origin.
Yeah.
So it's where you're born.
Yeah.
Is it though? Hold on. Can I just ask one thing? This has always perplexed me. Running is a natural thing, right? For millions of years, humans have just stood up and learned to run, and we've been running. Swimming is weird. It's unnatural. What makes someone wake up in the morning or at some point say, well, I'm really good at this, or get into swimming? What was that like as a kid?
I think you definitely, like for me, it's been in my blood. So I guess I was put in the pool when I was a baby. Everyone does learn to swim. Everyone does baby lessons, transition, squad, whatever. But I don't think it's talent. When you're young, I actually think you have to be driven to do that.
It's hard work.
It's hard. It's such hard work. And even from a young age, you have to have so much commitment. But if someone said to me, you have to go run, like you were talking before about you can't swim, but I literally am like a fish out of water. I cannot run. I'm currently doing social netball, and I actually can't even. Oh, you can.
I can swim.
Well, there you go.
I can swim. I can't swim fast. That's two different things.
Yeah.
I cannot drown. Does that count?
Yeah,
Can you
I
swim?
guess so.
Yeah.
Well, then we can all swim. That's a win.
You're not. You weren't born here, but like as Aussies, we have no choice because
Yeah.
water's
Neither do we.
everywhere.
So you get thrown into a pool. We get thrown into the ocean. So same sort of thing. It's a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably a bit more dangerous. So.
Yeah, so as Aussies, you definitely can swim, but it's like, do we want to swim? Do we enjoy swimming? It's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
Well, there's swimming and then there's breaststroke. And that's something that Don continuously reminds me of, reminds all of us of, is that the 400 metres, his particular event, is the toughest on the athletic calendar. Where does breaststroke fit as far as the disciplines within the swimming strokes?
I wouldn't say it's the toughest event. I'd say it's the most technical stroke. I think you have to be pretty I'd say the toughest event probably be close to the 400 individual medley. So it's 100 meters of each stroke. Breaststroke comes down to skill. So I found the harder you try, probably the slower you go. So you had to find a balance, but I spent years and years trying to figure that out, even to my very last race at Olympic trials.
So when you mean the harder you tried, so you mean if you're putting in more effort, but then your effort is sacrificing some of that form, I guess. Is that what you're saying? So if you're not as technical, then you're not going to be as fast.
Yeah. So I think with freestyle, it's across all strokes. You have to be very technical about it. It comes down to the smallest little things at the end of the day. I found that with freestyle, you can probably just thrash yourself through the water a bit, and you could get angry.
You feel fast when you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good at breaststroke, so but you feel like you're always slow.
Yes,
You can't go fast. I can't figure out how to go fast in breaststroke. So
it's definitely
how do you
technique.
figure out how to go fast in breaststroke?
Well, funny you say that, because my 100 meters at Olympic trials last year, my coach Dean would always just say, trust your stroke, just trust your stroke. Because I would always get to a point where I was a swimmer who had quite a low stroke rate for a breaststroke.
What does that mean? Does that mean you breathe less?
So with breaststroke, you breathe every stroke, but meaning I took less strokes than most other people. So,
But you're going further on every stroke? Is that how it
Is
works?
that what it means? Okay.
Yeah.
So you're pushing.
You're educating us on breaststroke.
Yeah.
So you have a stronger kick?
Yeah, stronger kick, probably timing may have just been different to the others.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily worse or good. It just depends what works for you. I would get a little bit overwhelmed and think I've got to start to rate up. So my last 50, I would lose the feel of the water and start to rate. And I would then look at data and say, well, you took 22 strokes here and you came back faster, whereas this 50 you did 26 strokes and you went slower. So it's mentally challenging, because it gets into your head and you think naturally to go faster you think you just got to try more, but with breaststroke it's not like that.
And when you're competing with the other athletes in the field, they would have different, I guess, ways that they find that works for them. So then are you trying to compete with yourself? Are you trying to compete with them? Are you trying to go, well, should I mimic them? Should I do my own thing?
Fortunate with breaststroke, I guess, in that way you don't see anyone else other than if you're in line, because you're breathing forwards, other than on a turn when you're obviously on your side. But you just have to stick to your race plan and stick to what works best for you, and that's what you train for. Yeah.
It's very individual.
Yeah, very individual.
So individual, and then you're also a relay swimmer. What are the mindset differences between the two for you?
Individually, you have a lot of your own pressure. You're out there, you've got your own lane, you're kind of not worrying about anyone else. I think any swimmer would say that they'd prefer a relay swim over an individual swim, purely because your adrenaline is just different. You've got the energy from the other girls. You're swimming, either way you're swimming for your country, so it doesn't really matter if you're a relay or individual swimmer, but
that's very different to other sports. When I say other sports, it's track and field, right? You would always sacrifice your relay to win your individual race, and that's whether people admit it or not. You will see that time and time again. Whereas in swimming, it seems it's the other way around. You never ever see one of our best swimmers not swim in a relay.
I think they just try and most major meets are 9 days or 8 or 9 days. So they really try and see how they can use different swimmers in the heats to then use that better, faster swimmer at night. I think they'll always put individual swims first. Most athletes will also say, I will select to swim my individual swim over a relay swim, but I think it's more that you want to be a part of that relay. You don't want to miss that opportunity, because Australia is so dominant in those relays.
Are you a relay runner as well, Don?
Yeah, I am.
So how do you find it? Is there any mindset differences for you?
Yeah, you're a lot faster. And for some reason, I always get a faster split in a relay. Like in the Masters World Championships, I ran 2 seconds faster in my relay lap than my individual. Yeah, so it's there is something, and also you're representing not just yourself, you're representing a team, and you feel like you're letting the team down for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's just that adrenaline rush you get. It's very different.
Everyone always lifts in a relay. You see people who just go, oh my goodness, like, where did that come from? So you just know that these people do have that potential to do that. But in a relay, you just see that energy.
Perception that you see from, obviously I'm a watcher of swimming, not in it. You know, I think just being Aussie, right? It's like the only sport that we get addicted to in the Olympics. Like it's watching the Aussie swimmers. And what I feel like in the relay is the team is so much more connected and well together as the relay event compared to the individual. That there's some sort of vibe there. It's just like it's a connection. It's a connection, and they will just do whatever they have to do for each other in that particular race. Do you feel like that there?
Oh yeah, 100%. I look at every relay, even watching the World Championships at the moment, just think like,
oh yeah, how good was
you
that?
could only just like imagine what like the call room would be like, and like the energy behind the blocks, and
what do you
it's
think
pretty
of
special.
that Kyle Chalmers swim?
Oh, he's unbelievable. Seriously, if ever like that's showing proof of what it's like swimming in a relay. He dives into that pool third, and his mentality is.
I got goosebumps.
I know. Seriously, watching him is like
He's a legend.
crazy. He is an absolute legend, and he's an amazing person too.
Can I ask on that, like some of the best sporting moments that I remember are in Australian swimming relays or American swimming relay performances. What is the best relay performance you've been involved in, and what do you reckon the best relay performance that you have seen?
Big question.
Yeah. World Championships, it was actually the short course, 2018, was my first senior team. And I remember that morning we swam the heat and we went into the final first qualifier. And I remember I was getting physio or something post-race, and Dean came up to me and said, where do you want to go into the relay? As in what position, what swimmer do you want to go? And I said, you can put me anywhere, I just do not want to go last. If you go last, you feel a lot more pressure. Yeah, you're the anchor. You have a lot more pressure. And I just said, I do not want to go last, Dean, please. And then he put me last. Anyway, I remember I swum and it was the best swim I've ever. Yeah. It was the best swim I've ever done. I remember that feeling being like, honestly, pressure is a privilege because I just swum out of my skin. And so that
were you
was
standing on the blocks like just shitting bricks going, why am I doing this? I'm last. Like, do I just want to run away? Like, what were you feeling?
Well, that's probably another story because I got on those blocks thinking, I don't know how many laps these girls have swum. Am I diving in now or am I waiting another 2 laps? And I'm looking up at Dean, who's in the crowd going, am I going now? And I was looking around at the girls going, I don't know what I'm doing right now.
What position were you in when you hit the water?
We were, it was close between first, second and third. Okay. So it wasn't like I could even see someone else go and then go, okay, we're going now. So it was a matter of just, anyway, we had to try and look at the time, figure out like, you know, when the girls were going to touch. And then later that night we found out there was actually a lap counter in the top right-hand corner. So that's probably a really big memory of mine that I'll always remember because it was also my first international medal.
And you felt like it was a stitch up.
Yeah. But see, Dean knows me. Dean knows us best. He knew that I was going to do my best swim if I was put last, and I had that pressure to perform.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Can you share like that?
There's one more. I want to know what the best relay performance of all time is. That in
I've
your opinion.
watched.
Yeah.
What's inspired you is probably the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a lot.
There's been a lot. For me,
Tour,
like Beijing, London, Rio, I guess, and then being a part of Tokyo was really special.
Australia have got such strong relay teams. I can understand it's difficult to try and pick one of those.
Yeah, it is. I think for me, in Paris last year, watching the girls and the guys swim was pretty magical because I saw that other side of being an athlete. watching Jack, my partner, swim at the Olympics was pretty special. There's many moments that I could just be like, gosh, you'd love to be a part of that team, or that was pretty special for Australian swimming.
Can you take us behind the scenes? What's it like in some of those events from World Championships or from the Olympics? What's something the public don't get to see?
Because
Then you're allowed to share.
that you're allowed.
We're actually really.
You know, when you watch it, it's
Yeah.
all, you guys are always together. You know, calm, collected. You don't see the emotion until you finish, and then all of a sudden, you know, Michael Klim's or the Carl Chalmers when he finished this one, that emotions and the real person comes out. We see that Dean Boxall going. we get that up, but it's always before the race. It seems like
it's definitely not. It's not calm. We've got a like a team room, and that's always where everyone's getting ready and preparing for their racing and stuff. So that's always a pretty intense area. I guess like Olympics, everyone thinks that swimmers just go crazy post like Olympics, but in Tokyo we didn't have that opportunity we didn't get to go to other events after we finished. We had to be out of the village within 2 days. So
It's the Japanese way.
yeah, well,
On a
no,
schedule.
it was COVID. It was COVID. So
probably
I think
left anyway.
I think the Japanese wanted everyone just to enjoy like Tokyo and go out and have fun, but we weren't able to. So I think swimmers, once they're done, go a bit crazy. But honestly, I think we all deserve it. Like, you are so strict and so disciplined up until that point, and it's like you get all this emotion and adrenaline together and you just celebrate. So there's
You have
nothing
one drink
really.
and pass out.
Yeah, pretty much. I had a great night's sleep on that last night of Olympics. Seriously, it was probably. I think I was in bed by 8 o'clock.
Oh wow, man.
But yeah,
Big night.
yeah. So anyway,
What about setbacks and injuries? We find that, you know, getting to speak to a lot of athletes, and that can be quite defining. It builds a lot of resilience for them. Have you got any major injuries or setbacks that you've suffered, and what got you through?
I was very fortunate up until probably 6 months out from Olympic trials last year. Being a breaststroker, I had my knees and hips just aren't great, and that was just repetition. So I ended up having to have surgery on my right knee 6 months out from trials that I didn't want to have, and I kind of just said, like, if I don't get this, then what can I do? And they pretty much just said, you won't be swimming breaststroke in 6 months' time. So I got an arthroscope done, so just a clean up, and that was pretty much just to get me through to trials. And if I was to make the team, it would get me through to that. So that was really challenging. For me, I couldn't swim breaststroke for 3 months. I only started swimming breaststroke. It was the week of the World Championships in 2024 in Doha. That was the same week I started swimming breaststroke, and I competed. I swam individually I was very disappointed with how I swum. And I think mentally that was really challenging, but I had to realise, like, I had not done any work. So that's when I did a bit more freestyle work, and my freestyle was great. But breaststroke, it wasn't ideal.
It's interesting. I never ever would have imagined that a breaststroker would have a knee problem.
Knee problem.
The first thing I thought, I was like,
How do you? Yeah, these.
I actually find it funny when I hear swimmers that actually get injured, because normally you hear people go
into
to the pool
Yeah,
to
for rehab.
recovery. For
Yeah.
rehab. Yeah.
Well, swimmers' shoulders.
Yes.
Yeah.
They actually did a study on swimmers' shoulders to see this is what a normal shoulder looks like and this is what a swimmer's shoulder looks like. And ours are all just not like that they're all stuffed up or anything, but a lot of athletes have something going on in their shoulders.
I've got to admit, I never realized how hard swimming is and how much of a toll you have on your body until I think it was Kate Campbell that started coming out and sharing her journey.
Yeah.
And that was a huge eye-opener because just like you, I've always related swimming as a rehab, not something that, when you say you've done your knee swimming, like there's no contact, there's
trying
no
not to
pressure.
laugh. I was
Like it's like,
So I was talking to Duncan about this because as a dedicated marathon runner, I got
talking about Duncan Armstrong.
Yeah, Duncan Armstrong. I got plantar fasciitis, and so I essentially had to have 18 months off running. And Duncan was like, we'll go to the pool and do some rehab. I was like, I've never swum in my life, like proper swim.
Well, I'll never go now because
yeah, I know. And so here I am going to the pool to do rehab and knowing, oh, no, I've got to do a knee reconstruction.
So
more repetition. It's
about
more
the repetition
overuse. Like we're doing some athletes are doing between 10 and 14 kilometers a day in the pool, and that's just in the pool, let alone gym.
Isn't it relaxing? You're just
I
floating
wish
in the water.
Everyone thinks that. I just think
no, it's hard. Work,
I wish I
man.
could jump in the pool and just be relaxed.
That's 6 months I did swimming. Oh my god,
So
It's the toughest. When I jumped in a triathlon for a bit, that was the thing I struggled with the most. At least look forward to the swim sessions, and I still can't swim.
I literally take my hat off to you. It is extremely.
But I'm still trying hard to get my head around like getting injured swimming.
I understand.
Like
Shoulders
it's
make sense.
repetition.
It's repetition. So
Yeah.
for me, it was just the repetition of breaststroke, and like it's such a unique stroke. Like even your top like Olympic swimmers, if you say, and they're not a breaststroker, you say, can you do a breaststroke kick? And they're like, no. Like, how do you get your feet or your knees like that? So it's very unique.
Yeah.
Who invented it? Because it is, if you think about it from top down, it is
And
really
this
weird.
is what I'm talking about, unnatural. Like, who gets in the pool and say, okay, I want to swim like a dolphin,
yeah, or like a turtle or something.
like a turtle.
True.
Or
Well, that's what they say when you're in
butterfly.
learn to
Who
swim.
came up with butterfly? Who came up like?
I don't know. I don't
you
want to
the
know that
natural
person.
dog paddle makes sense. There's
Yeah.
no like, where did we come up with this stuff?
Good question. I
Probably
actually
for
don't know.
another-
I've just copied others. and-
Question for another podcast.
Yeah.
So I understand your hips. Let's go back to topic. I can understand your hips getting worn out because of that movement, but your knees, what part of the knee, like is the full like knee reconstruction? Like what happens in that?
So it was kind of just wear and tear all around my knee. So I had inflammation in my fat pad. I don't know if you've heard of a fat pad before, but that's pretty much the front of your knee and like a lot of fluid and inflammation in that. That's just overuse. I also had a little bit more of like bone bruising along like the side. And then my meniscus as well. I had quite a few tears in my meniscus. So
Wow.
yeah, as you said, like it's not so much that there's impact, like there's that actual, contact. And
Just wearing it out.
we have quite low bone density because there's in the water, you're supported by the water. I know that sounds silly, but
Yeah.
with like an NRL player, it's just they're kind of conditioning themselves every day with that constant impact with each other.
So does that mean you guys have to train running and do other things as well, or you don't have time? Because every time I've sort of spoken to a swimmer, it's been like 4 o'clock in the morning, you start swimming. It's like doesn't feel like there's time to do anything else. How important is it for you to do the other stuff then outside of the pool?
So important. It's probably just as important as it is in the pool. So our routine was we'd get to the pool, we'd do, if you had an injury or prevention or anything, you'd always do a bit of rehab or stability, core, and then we'd usually try and do a bit of like a routine as a group. So if it was yoga or a circuit, and then we'd jump in the pool and swim and do our sessions, and there was always either a sprint, middle distance or distance group. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday mornings, we always had gym. And that was always pretty specific to what event you swum, I guess your body shape, and I guess what you could do in the gym. Athletes are pretty restricted with that because if you are injured, then there's a lot of movements that you can't do. And then afternoons, you'd either be on the bike, so cycling, or you'd be running. So a lot of the girls.
So you
actually
can
would
run?
No, I didn't run. I didn't run purely because of my knees, so I couldn't. Yeah, I wish I could because I would love to do probably triathlon. So, but yeah.
Oh, that you might be good at it.
So you said the word "was" many times. You want to compete in 12 months from now. So when do you start training again?
I've been training. I just haven't
So you
been.
haven't stopped?
Yeah, I haven't stopped. I haven't been doing my 9 swim sessions a week. I've been trying to find a balance to enjoy the sport because after Paris last year, I hated the sport.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, I kind of I would go into the pool and being like, why would I do this again? I don't have enjoyment in this.
How much? Because we're talking about milliseconds here. What was the time that you missed out on?
0.1.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So like,
Ouch.
yeah. It was pretty. Yeah, it was pretty tough. But I didn't put together my best swim, and I still to this day don't even know what time I swam. I kind of just have chosen not to look at that.
That's the cost of being such a successful. You said the
Yeah.
depth of that team that we've got in Australia. Like we were sort of struggling there for a little bit, and we're back.
You
And
probably would have
you've
got in
it
most
tough.
teams into the world
Yeah.
with based on that number, but you just didn't get into the Australian team.
Yeah, I think it's
Quickly apply for a
harder.
visa somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, it's harder to
Maybe
make.
not
I
in the US
think.
right now, but yeah,
Yeah. True.
anywhere else.
I think it's harder to make the Australian team in the women's 100 freestyle relay. So they usually take, well, because of our depth, they sometimes take top 8, but it's generally top 6, depending on what other events athletes have made. It's harder to make that than it is to make an Olympic final. So that just shows you what the depth is like.
What's the swimming culture like? What's it for us looking from the outside in? Like being an Australian swimmer is a great opportunity because we've got the legacy, we've got that.
It's
but
iconic. It's
it is,
the
yeah.
best sport to watch in the
Yeah,
Olympic times.
How does it feel like being
Part of it.
part of that
Yeah.
culture?
It's very special. It's something that I guess we've all dreamed of from a very young age. Our culture, we've done a lot of work on our team culture, which I think has shown in the last, probably since 2019, there's been a massive push to get our team to be a team. And we are. And I think we're never perfect, but we're definitely on the rise. So, again, it kind of comes down to being an individual swimmer and a relay swimmer. It's like when you're there as a team, you have to work with each other and respect each other and understand that everyone has different processes. So as much as you probably see all the great things of being on an Australian swim team, it's challenging and there's a lot of different personalities, but everyone's working well together and it's definitely getting better.
You want to keep the opportunities here, right? Because it's there. It's one of the biggest advantages for swimming in Australia is all of the good swimmers are here. So
Best
unlike
coaches.
Yeah.
best coaches are here, whereas track and field, we have to go to Europe or to America to swim against or run against
Yeah.
or compete against.
Run in the rain.
Run in the rain. We do that
Yeah.
all the time. You have to go to the other side of the world, whereas every swim you do, every competition you do, you're swimming against the best in the world. So
Yeah.
that's, I think you want to keep that opportunity there and you want to keep the
Yeah,
culture.
for sure. Because
alive.
I guess at the end of the day, it's us setting our team up for the next generation, especially leading into Brisbane 32. It's, I think there'll be some people who are on the team right now that will be in Brisbane 32. But it's about creating that legacy to encourage these younger ones to come through to want to be a part of that team, because it's honestly something you can't describe. And it's something you'll hold on forever. And yeah, it's a very proud moment.
How swimming hasn't been without controversy. The latest one's been the gender argument. What's your stance on it?
Yeah, it would be, I'm obviously not against that, but to be competing against someone that is probably going to be significantly stronger, it's pretty challenging. It'd be really hard to stand up on the blocks and accept that.
Globally now there's an official standing on it, right? There's no ambiguity around that anymore.
So that won't go ahead. That's already been spoken about, especially in the US college system. They've spoken about that quite openly. So
I thought I heard there's going to be a trans event or some sort of. Is this like something that's happening or bubbling behind the scenes? Like have a separate type of event that's for that purpose?
I've heard that too. I don't know a lot of information on that, but
I think there's got to be an opportunity.
there has to be an opportunity
for
that.
compete, right?
There
Like
has to-
everyone's
has
got to
to
have
be.
opportunity to be able to be competitive and put their best foot forward. But we also don't want to take back years and years worth of women's rights and everything that we fought
100%.
for, and it is what it is. So you just don't want to. I don't want you to train for years and years and then
I think
Then Don jumps on the blocks and tries to win.
yeah.
I think women's sport, especially right now, is definitely taking a massive, it's it's growing and
Yeah.
it's great. It's in a
Exploded.
great.
Look at the Matildas.
I
They're
know,
just smashing
like,
it.
It's unbelievable to see what's happening in this space.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a massive step back if something like that did influence
Yeah.
women's sport.
Gotta protect what we've sort of
100%. We've got to protect what they've what
Fought it
we've
for.
created.
Yeah, that's it,
And
yeah.
I guess like that's what I was saying about what we're creating in this culture and what the athletics team's creating in their culture. It's really important for the ones coming through.
Yeah.
What about life outside the pool for you? What are some of your hobbies, habits? What do you get up to?
Well,
So this is a fun fact. So she's just sold my house. So my house has been on the market. And,
Congratulations.
Abby was my real estate agent.
Yeah. So I work alongside a lady in Victory Pocket, Chrissy Crummell, and I've been very fortunate that I've been a part of the process of selling Don's house, Don and Elise's house. And I'm studying a Bachelor of Business, majoring in property. So I have a passion for real estate, and that's what got me working with Chrissy.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm loving that. So I'm Chrissy's associate. So I guess that was probably another thing off the back of Olympics last year is I wanted to have some sort of, I guess, I wanted to be busy because being an athlete, you're always busy and you're always wanting to do things. So I reached out to Chrissy and she was looking for an associate at the time. And so I've been working alongside Chrissy for 6 months now and loving it. I have a passion for post-Olympics as well. I got into cooking. So I'm loving doing a bit of cooking. I'm studying.
Thermomix cooking or just regular cooking?
No, I actually was looking at the Thermomixes the other day, but no, I'm regular cooking. Yeah.
So
I love my Thermomix.
do you? I've never used one.
It's a game changer.
Is it?
Absolute
Exactly.
game
I'm
changer.
traditional cook.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Abby, how did you get into real estate? Like you said, you had a passion for real estate. Like how did you realize I want to?
It was when my parents moved up to Brisbane. They were saying, "Oh, we're going to be moving house," and I was like, "Oh yeah, cool." Like, I'll look on realestate.com, and I started looking, and I was like, I love looking at houses. So I didn't know if it was like more so just looking at beautiful homes, and I was like, this is what I would love to do. So I think that just carried through, and then when I finished school, I was like, I want to do a bit more of a property side of things, and it could be commercial, could be residential, could be development. I'm unsure, and I still am, and I guess like I'm kind of just really new into this, so I'm just trying to get experience for the moment. But yeah, it was just a passion for homes, and
I think it's good that you found this so early on because a lot of athletes retire and go, what now?
What do you do?
And
Yeah.
like we've had loads of these conversations and it's scary. And this is become depressive. So I think it's really good that you've found passion.
I think certain sports do a lot better than others. I think Swimming Australia and Swimming Queensland does a better job at that, making opportunities available and building those pathways. How important was it for you to, the education part of it? Like how has it played in your, I don't want to call it transition because you haven't transitioned yet. Yeah. So,
Got the LA Olympics coming.
Yeah, we got Brisbane coming
love
there.
to.
LA. Yeah, so it's not a transition, but it's amazing that you've actually found a place to sort of get started on, and you're doing your bachelor's. That's music to our ears because that's what we want all athletes to be doing.
Yeah, of course. I've seen that side of things, and I really didn't want that to happen to me because I knew a lot of athletes that did finish swimming and they went through that phase where it was like, I haven't studied, I haven't worked throughout my career. They literally miss the Australian team, or they make the Australian team and they finish the Olympics or whatever major meet it is, and then they go, what now? So for me, I always thought about that throughout my career, and I'm a very busy person. Like I love doing things. I couldn't just have swimming. So I'd always want to be coming home after training and doing either study or
Cooking.
or even gardening. I loved gardening. So I just became busy, and I think it's so important to have that balance during your athlete career because honestly, when you finish, it actually is like you hit a wall and there's nothing else after that.
Well, you build your personality around your identities around, this thing, especially for you guys when you spend so much time. And then what do I do next? If you haven't already thought about building that identity.
It's really tough.
Beyond that, it becomes tough.
I think the other thing that we've really learnt this last 12 months with having all the athletes and Olympians on this podcast is what we've, I guess, not sure about scientifically proven, but what we've understood is that if you have something outside of your sport, it actually makes you a better sports person. Have you noticed this going back into this next meet?
Yeah, definitely. I think a happy swimmer is a fast swimmer. I think
It's having something to take your mind off things as well. So
Exactly.
you haven't just got a singular focus. I know some people, they complain, I've got to work full time or I've got to this, and you're trying to do your sport. I think being able to prioritise your sport, but at the same time, like you said, have these other things going on. You've got your mind very, very occupied with your study, and then you're out there, and real estate, we all know, is quite a social, and you're meeting a lot of people. So you got all the boxes ticked.
yeah.
It's a very happy time too, selling houses.
It's a very good time to be selling homes. A friend of mine's a real estate agent, and he's complaining about, I said, well, if you have a look at the commission hasn't changed, and yet property prices are doubled in Brisbane. You don't have to work any harder, and all of a sudden you get double the pay. Like, what are you complaining about?
Tell them that, Magnus.
And also, you're making.
I'm
people's
a
dreams
licensed
come
real estate agent, so I completely get it
there
too.
You
So
go. There you go. See, the people
Man
you
of
meet.
the
This is
many
thing.
hats.
The
everything
people you
but a
meet.
swimmer.
Yeah, everything.
But what I wanted to also touch on, and we did speak about this briefly off air, is just nutrition. And what does that look like, particularly when you're in full training mode? What do you eat? And then recovery, what's that look like? And what are you doing right now?
You treat your body as, when you're an athlete, you fuel your body with obviously good food.
Because you must be chewing through some calories. Like, how many hours of training that you're doing in the pool? So you eat a lot?
I think you struggle to eat a lot because you are spending so much time exercising and training. You struggle to fit in like a big breakfast, and then fueling for that afternoon session, you have to try and fit in a big lunch and have enough carbohydrates to get you through that. So it's not necessarily about your 3 big meals. It's about fitting in those snacks and eating through training and working out what actually works for you. I became a little bit, I overthought it, I think, a little bit in the end. And I not that I overthought it, but I was so conscious of everything I was putting into my body and ensuring that it was like perfect. I became a bit of a perfectionist. So, but honestly, we're burning so many
mentally
calories.
Can't be good for you.
It wasn't good. And I think injury, all that sort of stuff made me become a perfectionist because I felt like I was behind. So everything I did, I'd say, oh, but I did that better last week, so I've got to do that again. Or I was, everything had to be in line. Or what I ate for breakfast
I can relate.
on the morning I swam well, I'd have to do that again. So it's a mind thing as an athlete. It really does become about just believing that you are doing the right thing and that the process.
How much is diet part of the performance scale when it comes to if you had to put it?
It's definitely a big chunk, but I don't think you have to have. You don't have to have a. It's not like you have to go and have oats and berries and yogurt for breakfast, and you've got to do this for lunch and this for dinner. It's just more about fueling your body.
Yeah.
So I think your diet is
Understanding
so
your own body, yeah.
important.
Finding what works for you.
Yeah.
But just making sure you've got that you're replenishing or everything you've lost in the pool
Do you
or
have
whatever.
a dietitian? Did you have a dietitian to manage all of that and guide you?
Dietitian, nutritionist that guided us into say, you need to be having this amount of carbohydrates through a session. You need to be having a gel or a Powerade or even like jelly snakes just for a quick carb intake when you're in training and you can't get, a whole bottle of Powerade down or something.
How often do you get your bloods taken to compare?
Not often. It was actually more so you'd get your bloods taken to work with, like if you were getting sick or if you were kind of feeling drained or your iron was low or something. So it was frequently, but it wasn't as often as you probably thought. Yeah.
One of the biggest things I've noticed is nutritional trend seems to be driven by social media, right? That's got to be one of the
You mean
biggest.
products? You mean selling
Everything
products online?
Everything, like there's so many experts on how much does social media play in sports these days, because it's just not just nutrition, it's everything else as well that's around social media.
A huge amount. I think a lot of athletes actually started getting a few more like a bit more content creators to come in and capture our training schedules and see what we were doing in the pool, because I think it's a big space to show people what we are doing, and we can't do, you know, a day in the life of an athlete because we'd be in the pool and we don't have time to set up a camera or time to do this. So it was enjoyable getting content. And that just shows other people and to encourage other athletes to see what we did in the pool and outside of the pool. But in terms of like nutrition and all that, like I wouldn't be going online to look at what an influencer's eating to then try and help me in the pool, because
I have to ask, when you're running, you have gels. When you're swimming, do you also stop and have gels?
Yeah.
Like, how does this work?
So we have like we do different
doing
sets.
a different stroke and you're having a gel on the way?
No, we stop at the end of the pool. Like our sessions aren't just like swimming laps continuously. It's different different sets. So just say we had like 4 100s or whatever, like you'd stop after 4 ones and you'd have like a little break. And especially in summer when the pool got so hot, you'd just have to make sure you're sweating so much, like without even realising.
You're sweating in the pool?
In the pool?
Absolutely. That's
100%.
the worst time, middle of summer, swimming in an outside pool.
It's disgusting.
Awful.
Man, there's so many things that has not made sense for me in this podcast. You injure your knees swimming. You're sweating while
breaststroke.
you're swimming. Are we talking about the same thing here?
Yeah, I know. It's honestly like, I wish that's what I was saying about social media, is that I wish people could see what we did, because they'd be like, what do you mean? Like you do 6K
Why
in the
don't
water?
we see it?
Or
Because
like,
this is the thing. Like they're the kind of things that people would probably be interested in.
Yeah. So I would love to.
Don't let real life, like social media is not real life.
What do you mean?
I don't know if this is something that's happening, but what I loved about their Matilda's journey was the documentary they did. Is there any opportunity in your sport for a documentary? Is there a conversation around this? Because that allowed not just women's sport, but obviously
Dean Boxall can make a documentary.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
Oh, 100%.
like, do you see, like, I don't know, how do you
they
react
did
from
one.
someone in?
Oh, did
They
Okay.
did
Yeah.
one with Ian Thorpe, Cody Simpson, maybe Kyle Chalmers.
Yeah, okay.
And there was a female as well. I think Bronte Campbell. They did I think it was Amazon. Amazon Prime did it a couple of years ago. And it just shows them their journeys, them going to training, what they did.
Wow.
It wasn't promoted
it's-
very well.
You got to do your research on this. Come on.
No, but like I think there should be more. Like I think
Yeah,
I think Dean could make something unbleable.
But there's stuff
pitching.
there. Like
Yeah, honestly, like I
you know,
think it's such a great
one of the
opportunity.
most impressive things I've seen is a post by Bronte Campbell where she was exercising underwater with
Oh
weights.
yeah.
That I couldn't breathe watching it. It was crazy. Like, if you guys haven't seen it, watch it. She's got this video of her training underwater. Like what you guys can do is superhuman and it's unnatural, and that's where I think it becomes so difficult. Like and some of the emotions that you have to go through, like Shayna Jack, like that was an emotional roller coaster. That how was that? That was your era as well.
Yeah.
How hard was that?
That was challenging. She's one of my best friends, so I rode that journey with her. You know, she obviously had a very challenging time going through everything, but she was, you know, she didn't let herself down, and like as in she knew what she was standing for, and
I'm so proud of the way she managed it and fought all the way to the end.
Yeah.
We could all see, and it's I'm so glad.
Yeah, she's very, very strong in that manner, and I think that's what makes her an amazing athlete too.
Looking forward to the next training camp for yourself then?
Yeah, well, actually, Shayna's in Perth at the moment with her partner who's on the Australian hockey team, but Shayna and I are usually roomies when we go on camp. So,
nice.
yeah, I would love to go back on a camp and be with the team again. Yeah.
So is that what's next?
I've got to kind of figure out what is next, because it's just depending on what the squad's doing towards the end of the year, and we usually try and do a yearly training camp in Thailand, and they do sometimes go down south or over to America and do altitude as well. So, there's a lot of opportunities to travel.
So you got real estate. You're working with Chrissy. Talking about female empowerment. Do you have any guys working in
No, we
in the
don't,
team?
but it's actually just worked out like that. And everyone always says that, like, why don't you have guys working with you? And she's like,
I don't think you need.
well, no.
And to be honest, it was a breath of fresh air. The there was no real estate sales bills. It was very different
Yeah.
experience. I actually bought my house from Chrissy and I went back to her to sell it because the experience of buying was so good.
She's
I-
such a she actually reminds me of Dean in the way she's just so passionate and so loyal to people and just care so much about people. And she'll go above and beyond as well. So, I'm absolutely loving working alongside her. I'm learning so much. So, yeah.
And Project 32, what's I've heard a bit about that. You're involved in that?
Yeah, I was actually the foundation athlete for it. So we kicked that off in April 2024. So just before Olympic trials last year, obviously hoping to make the Olympic team. But it's pretty much just about helping athletes become a part of a space to still be an athlete as well as having these networking opportunities leading into Brisbane 32 and give them the opportunity to, if they've got a passion for real estate or whatever, accounting or something, and giving you a bit of guidance to say, hey, I know these people, like let's go tee you up with these people or have a sponsorship sort of thing there. So I was very fortunate to be a part of working alongside UNU recruitment.
Yeah.
It's been unbelievable. They actually gave me an opportunity last year, and it was at the same time I said to Chrissy that I'd start working full time with her, and they didn't really have work for me in a way, but they had opportunity for me to go and do a few hours in their office a week, and I felt terrible because I was like, you're helping support me, but I feel terrible because I've actually just been given a job. And they're like, no, this is what it's all about. Like, we want you to be able to succeed in the pool as well as create opportunities away from the pool.
There's this big disconnect between Australia, the US, and the rest of the world around, I guess, individual sponsorship versus group sponsorship versus different sports. How has that affected you to push you to go and get a job in real estate? And what, has that made a big effect on your life personally because you don't have that income?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate that we do have Hancock Prospecting behind us, which is Mrs. Gina Reinhardt. She loves athletes, and she hasn't just supported swimmers but multiple other sports in Australia. So we've been very fortunate that that's given us the opportunity to be an athlete and put all that energy into being the best and representing Australia. But it's definitely something that you have to think about because, we're all old enough now that we want to move out of home and we want to buy a place and study and whatnot. And so it's impacted us hugely.
Amazing. So even if you're an elite athlete at the top of the game, like swimming, which you get the eyeballs, you still struggle. Wow, there you go.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we've run out of time, so we're going to jump into the quickfire questions. Are you ready?
Ready.
What's the weirdest superstition or ritual you have before a race?
Always eating a red snake.
Oh, no, I did not expect that.
Who's the biggest character on the Dolphins team?
Probably Matthew Temple.
Which is the most used app on your phone?
Probably realestate.com.
What comes naturally to you?
Probably knowing people's energy, understanding people's energy.
Do you secretly love the 4:30 a.m. starts for swimming?
No, but I think I've thrived off them.
If it wasn't for swimming, what other sport do you think you'd dominate?
Not running.
Tennis. Tennis.
One word to describe Dean Boxall.
Passionate.
Worst advice you've ever received?
To quit swimming.
Who's your all-time hero?
My granddad.
What makes you cry?
Seeing other people achieve things that they probably didn't believe they could.
Which moment in your career would you hit replay on if you could relive it?
Making the Tokyo Olympic team.
If swimming had walkout songs like boxing, what would be your track?
I don't think I haven't really thought of that, but a song for me that really does, always think about is Mirrors by Michael Jackson because it was a song I listened to before I made the Olympic team.
And what's one thing the public doesn't know about you?
I want to go on the block.
And last question, what's a must-have tribute to be a true master?
Relentless belief.
Love it.
You know that they don't build anything on the block, right?
They don't build anything?
No.
No, I know. Chrissy and I really want to go on it. So
The two of you, okay, that'll be...
yeah,
I reckon you
we
guys
have
would be
spoken
great.
about it. So, we would love it. But someone's got to look after her business, she says. So I think we'd be great.
Yeah.
So
I
maybe.
think, that'll be good marketing. So it's...
I've always just want to go on it. My partner doesn't want to do it with me because we're probably
You
just...
were with Chrissy. Yeah, probably.
Chrissy and I, we'd have a great time.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time. We know how busy you are. Appreciate all your insights. Love your energy and keep up all that great work and all the best in your comeback.
Thank you. Thanks so much for
Well,
having me.
it's not a comeback when you have never left. So all the best, Abby.
Thank
on
you.
that.
Looking forward to following your journey.
Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate it.
Thank
Had a
you.
great time.
Cheers.
Hope you enjoyed this exciting episode of the Mastering Podcast. If you got value from today's conversation, hit that subscribe button now and share this episode with a friend. Until next time.